Did you always want to be famous?
No, I don't want to be famous. I don't like the idea of fame. I didn't always want to be an actor. I did want to... When I dropped out of uni, which was, it was a big thing, and it was a lot of long conversations in, that sort of room in the house that you never use. Dad would bring me in there and we'd have like long, drawn-out chats about, future, and I said, Dad, I don't want to go back to uni. I was doing a marketing degree. I had absolutely zero interest in it, and fair play to Dad, because he gave me the go ahead to on a whim go to London, and I think, essentially, if I'd stayed in uni, I was kidding myself.
So what drove you in the direction of male modelling? That must have been very popular, coming from your background, or somebody who was very keen on rugby, we're told, and all that type of thing. Why did you end up as a male model?
It was an easy door that opened to me. Who grows up wanting to be a male model? Certainly no one I've ever met.
How did it happen?
It happened through great reluctance and through a bit of a push from my sister Jess, and it was a timing thing. The exact summer of 2002, I made a decision that I was going to drop out of university. I just mucked around that summer, sort of drank too much, and did achieved very little, and had a lot of big chats with my dad and about my future. And I was saying, I want to go to London, and Dad was going, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't quite know yet, but I just have an idea that I'll go. And I thought I'd maybe apply to drama school, maybe go down that route, and maybe end up being an actor. But I just thought, if I get to London, things will sort of fall into place. And maybe that's a slightly arrogant thing to say, but I had a belief that if I got to London, things would work out for me. And then my sister Jess said that there's this thing called Model Behaviour, and they were doing auditions at the Wellington Park Hotel on the Malone Road. And I was like, the last thing in the world I want to do is be a model. But the timing of, like, I don't know what to do, maybe that'll get me to London, how hard could it be, like getting a photograph taken. So I went, and then, I actually didn't do particularly well on that show, but it was enough to sort of get me there, make a few contacts, phone a few people. But I worked in a pub for 6 months.
Jimmy, I was told that you were a very keen rugby player when you were at Methodist College in Belfast. What did your mates think of you when you became a male model? Did you get a lot of stick, a lot of ribbing?
Yeah, and rightly so. I sort of deserved a lot of ribbing for it, and I would have done the exact same thing. I think that there was a time where it was all quite evident what they thought about me. I was in New York, and a couple of mates were there who were also from Methody, who were over doing a bit of a stint in New York, and I was there working. And we went into Nicole Farry's store, and I'd done the campaign about 6 months previous, and it takes about that amount of time for the pictures to come out, but I sort of didn't know if they were going to be out yet. And of course we walk in, and as soon as we walk in, there's this huge poster of me, and I'm doing quite an odd pose in it. It's quite an awkward looking, uncomfortable sort of seating setup. My hands are doing something pretty weird. It wasn't my finest shot, but still, as with friends, it's a successful thing that's happened. Cue support from your friends, but no, they just laughed and laughed, and I doubled over laughing. Got the women from the shop over to point and agree with them about how stupid my pose was, and I just sat back and went, okay, well listen, if that's what your friends are like, who needs enemies?
Well, you hit the top as a model, Calvin Klein, posters all over the place, buses everywhere in London, everywhere one went, but you opted out from modelling. What decided for you to espouse acting? Did you feel that modelling was a poor relation to acting or to an alternative career?
I didn't have a great deal of respect for modelling.
Why?
I just didn't. I just didn't think it was something that it didn't do anything for me. It was very good to me, and I'm grateful to it for what it gave me. And I did it for a decade, and it was, it was fun. But I didn't actually enjoy the actual act of it, and I found that there was a lot of really sort of ridiculous people that I couldn't take seriously a lot of the time, and some of the conversations I was privy to, I just found it a bit ridiculous, to be honest, and I just had very little interest in it, and I didn't want to be in my 40s doing it, and no appeal to me at all to be doing it beyond. I just thought it's a fun thing to do in my 20s. I literally started when I was 20, finished when I was 30, and I thought that's a cool thing to do for a decade, you know, and get paid to have your photograph taken and, you know, travel the world. But then I just thought things need to get serious, and that was mostly down, pretty much all down to meeting Millie, my wife, who I met when I was 27. I was still modelling a bit, but I was trying to kind of act, and I was conscious of that thing of model/actor, model turning into actor, and I wanted to try to do work that, you know, was as far away from that idea as possible, but it's quite hard to come by. If you have spent a decade getting your photograph taken, you're sort of put forward for very particular types of roles. But when I met Millie, and I knew the night I met her that I was going to marry her, so I thought, I just have to get a bit serious here, and being serious to me wasn't to continue modelling.
I want to follow on your acting career in a moment, but you say the night you met Millie, you knew you wanted to marry her.
100%, yeah.
Was that your epiphany moment?
I didn't tell her that. That would have been a bit too strong, I think, as an opener. It was definitely an epiphany moment. I feel like you'll have a few of those in your life, and it was yeah. Truth be told, I knew who she was before, and I'd always fancied her. I had this weird thing where I always felt that if I met her, that we would just get on. It's a very strange thing. Something about like her eyes or something. I just thought like we would work. I don't know why. So then when I knew she was going to be at this house party in LA in February 2010, I got up to that house party pretty fast.
Let me ask you something. Do you still tell her this?
I tell my wife I love her 10 times a day. I do. I think that's really important. I don't do it because I think that's what she should do as a husband. I do that because that's what I think.
Well, now that she knows you so well,
yeah.
Does she tell you 10 times a day that she loves you?
7 or 8, probably. I think I get a few sort of no responses.
Success didn't come overnight for you, no. In terms of being an actor. You had your tough times, and then you had a minor role in Marie Antoinette, I think, etc. Enter Alan Cubitt, the man behind The Fall, which was filmed in Belfast, which became a very highly rated series in Belfast. How did that happen?
A lot of, very rarely does stuff that's set here come across your lap that isn't directly about the Troubles. And I've sent these scripts, and you hear actors saying this all the time, but I really do mean this. They were the best scripts I'd ever read. Now, I was sent them, I think I was sent the first 3 episodes, and it was to play one of the police officers who dies at the end of the 2nd episode. But at that time in my career, playing a police officer in a BBC series who dies after 2 episodes was a really good gig.